Captain Maya Rodriguez stretched in her pilot's chair aboard the MSS Hawking, her supply vessel cruising smoothly on its regular Mars-Earth route. The ship's quantum detection array, recently installed under the guise of experimental navigation equipment, hummed quietly behind her. She glanced at the softly glowing display, expecting another routine trip across the solar system. The array suddenly lit up like a Christmas tree. "Control, this is Hawking," Maya said, keeping her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We're picking up some unusual readings at coordinates 47 Mark 23. "Copy that, Hawking. Standard protocol. Log and continue your route." Maya smiled. Standard protocol was exactly what the hidden quantum physics team had predicted the Council would expect from a developing civilization. Acknowledged. "Control. Though these readings are pretty interesting. Mind if I take a closer look? Purely for scientific curiosity." There was a pause. Maya knew the conversation was being monitored by Dr. Chen's team back on Earth. They had practiced this moment for months. "Approved, Hawking. Stay safe." Maya adjusted her course, making it appear slightly clumsy, like someone still learning to handle deep space maneuvers. The quantum array's readings grew stronger as she approached the source. Through the view screen, space looked empty, but the array told a different story. 3 ships, massive ones, hung there in the void, hidden behind cloaking technology that the Council believed was centuries beyond human understanding. She activated her ship's regular sensors, which would be visible to the Council vessels. The Hawking's old-fashioned radar and electromagnetic scanning systems swept across their position. Maya watched the quantum display as the Council ships reacted, their energy signatures fluctuating with what her training suggested was surprise. "Control, I'm getting some weird sensor ghosts out here," she reported. "Like something's bending the light. Is there solar wind activity in this sector?" More silence. Maya imagined the Council observers frantically discussing how a primitive human ship had wandered so close to their position. Their cloaking technology should have been impenetrable to Earth's current level of advancement. "Negative, Hawking. Return to your primary flight path." "Copy that." But Maya let her voice trail off as she adjusted her position again, this time bringing her ship's regular cameras to bear on the Council vessel's exact location. "You know what? Never mind. Probably just cosmic rays messing with our sensors." Resuming course to Mars. She piloted the Hawking away at a leisurely pace, maintaining the character of someone who had glimpsed something strange, but didn't have the context to understand its significance. The quantum array tracked the Council ships as they began to move, adjusting their position further from Earth's standard space lanes. Hours later, after docking at Marsport, Maya sat in her encrypted cabin and composed her real report. The Council's reaction to being almost discovered told them volumes about the alien observers. They were cautious, preferring to retreat rather than risk exposure. They had also demonstrated concern about being spotted by what they considered inferior technology, suggesting they might be overconfident in their advancement. "Well done, Captain." Dr. Chen's message flashed across her screen. "First contact happened on our terms, even if they don't realize it yet. The Council now knows we're close to detecting them, but they think it's accidental progress. Phase 1 is complete." Maya looked out her cabin window at the red Martian landscape. Somewhere out there, humanity's future was taking shape in ways the Council couldn't imagine. They thought they were studying a young species taking its first steps into space. Instead, they were teaching humanity exactly how to surpass them. "Ready for Phase 2, Maya typed back. "Though I still can't believe the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy never considered that their stealth technology would be visible to quantum sensors. Seems like a pretty obvious oversight." "That's the advantage of being underestimated," Dr. Chen replied. "No one expects the impossible from a primitive species." Dr. Sarah Chen stood in her underground laboratory, watching holographic displays of Council transmissions dance across the air. The Himalayan facility, buried beneath 2 kilometers of rock, hummed with the sound of quantum computers decoding alien languages and technology specifications. "Mom, why do the aliens use such complex codes when simple ones work better?" Sarah turned to see her daughter, Lynn, perched on a workstation chair, homework tablet forgotten in her lap. At 12, Lynn spent more time in the lab than at home, absorbing advanced physics like other kids collected games. "Because they've never needed to think differently," Sarah explained, adjusting a signal pattern. "When you're at the top for too long, you forget to look for better ways." A notification flashed across her display. Another council transmission, this one discussing Earth's remarkable progress in detecting their presence. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The council's analysis suggested humanity might achieve reliable quantum detection capabilities within 50 years. They'd had it for 20. Dr. Chen, her assistant, called from across the lab. "The World Security Council is ready for your briefing." Sarah squeezed Lynn's shoulder. "Remember, sweetheart, sometimes the best way to learn is to let others think they're teaching you." The briefing chamber was a stark contrast to the lab's organized chaos. Representatives from Earth's major nations attended via hologram, their expressions a mix of anticipation and concern. "The council ships have adjusted their observation patterns," Sarah began, bringing up Maya Rodriguez's sensor data. "They're maintaining distance but increasing scan frequency. Our accidental detection has made them curious. And they suspect nothing." The Indian representative leaned forward. "On the contrary." Sarah displayed the decoded council communications. "They're debating whether to accelerate their observation timeline. Our quantum detection capabilities impressed them, but only because they think it was luck." The Chinese representative nodded. "And the technology analysis?" Sarah switched displays, showing comparative schematics. "Their quantum drives operate on principles we mastered years ago. Their mistake was approaching quantum mechanics from a purely mathematical perspective. They never considered that Earth's higher gravity would lead us to discover practical applications they overlooked. So we maintain the deception." The Brazilian representative asked, "Continue playing the developing civilization?" With a twist, Sarah brought up a new proposal. "We start discovering technologies they expect us to find, but we do it faster than they predict. Not fast enough to raise suspicion, but enough to maintain their interest. Meanwhile, we focus our real research on the areas they've overlooked." The room fell silent as the representatives considered the implications. Earth was walking a dangerous line, advancing quickly enough to gain council attention, but not so fast as to reveal their true capabilities. "The risk," Sarah continued, "isn't in what we know, but in how we apply it. The Council's biggest blind spot is their assumption that technological advancement follows a fixed path. They don't realize that Earth's challenges forced us to find creative solutions." Back in her lab hours later, Sarah found Lynn still working, now surrounded by holographic models of council ship designs. "Their engines are too complicated," Lynn said without looking up. "All those extra systems just because they never had to worry about gravity efficiency." Sarah watched her daughter point out flaws that council engineers had never considered, and felt a surge of pride. The next generation wouldn't just maintain humanity's edge. They'd expand it. Her computer chimed with an update from Captain Rodriguez. The council had scheduled their first official observation mission to Earth's orbit. Soon, they would expect to find a promising young species eager to learn from their advanced civilization. Sarah began composing Earth's response. The council was about to learn an important lesson about teaching. Sometimes the student already knows more than the teacher suspects. Jack Torres wiped the sweat from his brow as he finished calibrating the Centauri research station's maintenance drones. The station's artificial gravity fluctuated slightly, a familiar quirk that the engineering team deliberately maintained to support their developing technology facade. "Hey Jack," Emma Lou's voice crackled through his earpiece. "You might want to check the long-range sensors. We've got something interesting." Jack pulled up the sensor display on his tablet. 6 unidentified vessels were approaching from the direction of Proxima B. They weren't council ships. The energy signatures were all wrong. His heart rate quickened. "Control, this is Centauri Station," he transmitted. "We've got visitors, and they're not our usual watchers." The response came instantly. "Maintain normal operations. Help is 4 hours out." 4 hours. Jack looked around the maintenance bay at his team of 5 engineers and their fleet of basic maintenance drones. They were the only line of defense for 300 scientists and researchers. "Emma, remember that drone modification we talked about last week? The one that was too advanced to implement. The mining laser upgrade. But Protocol 7 says we can't use anything beyond current public tech levels." Jack smiled. "Protocol 7 has an exception clause for immediate survival situations. Besides, they're not council ships. No one to maintain appearances for." The next 3 hours transformed the maintenance bay into an impromptu weapons lab. The engineering team modified their mining drones with precision only possible for humans raised in higher gravity. Their fingers flew across control panels, rewiring systems that council engineers would need special tools to manipulate. Approaching vessels. "This is Centauri Research Station." Emma broadcast on standard frequencies. "We are a peaceful research facility. Please identify yourselves." The response came in garbled trade speak. "Station claimed by Star Wanderers. Prepare for boarding." Jack activated the first wave of modified drones. To an outside observer, they would appear to be simple maintenance units moving to repair the station's exterior. The Star Wanderers wouldn't recognize the significance of their precisely calculated positions. "Ready for a little demonstration of human ingenuity?" Jack asked his team. The Star Wanderers' ships moved into boarding formation. Jack's drones activated their mining lasers, modified to emit focused bursts of energy at specific frequencies. The beams didn't target the ships directly. Instead, they created a complex interference pattern in the space around the station. The effect was instantaneous. The Star Wanderers' shields flickered and failed, their systems confused by what appeared to be a natural quantum fluctuation field. Their ships stalled, caught in an invisible net of overlapping energy patterns. Approaching vessels. Emma broadcast again, her voice steady. "Our station's unique position in the Centauri system sometimes creates unusual quantum effects. We recommend maintaining a safe distance to avoid technical difficulties." The Star Wanderers retreated, their ship struggling against the drone-generated field. By the time Earth's defense fleet arrived, the would-be raiders were long gone. Dr. Chen's message arrived hours later. "Interesting solution. The Council observers bought the natural phenomenon explanation. They're actually studying the Centauri system now, looking for the source of these quantum anomalies." Jack watched his team restore the drones to their original configuration, erasing all evidence of their modifications. They were already discussing improvements to the design, just in case the Star Wanderers returned. "You know what's funny?" Emma said, reviewing the incident data. "We didn't even use our advanced tech. Just basic mining equipment and some creative thinking." "That's humanity's real advantage," Jack replied. "We don't just solve problems. We solve them in ways no one else would think to try." The station's artificial gravity hiccuped again, a reminder of their ongoing deception. Somewhere out there, Council scientists were puzzling over natural phenomena that didn't exist, while a team of human maintenance workers had just invented an entirely new form of defensive technology using little more than modified mining equipment and an understanding of quantum mechanics that the Council thought impossible for humanity to possess. The Council chamber's holographic displays cast a soft blue glow across Dr. Sarah Chen's face as she stood before the assembled alien representatives. This was humanity's first official presentation to the Galactic Council, 6 months after the Star Wanderers incident at Centauri Station. "We are honored by your invitation," Sarah began, her translator converting her words into the major council languages. "Earth hopes to learn much from your accumulated wisdom." The Arcturian delegate, a tall being with crystalline features, leaned forward. "Your species has shown remarkable adaptability. The quantum anomalies that protected your research station have intrigued our scientists." Sarah suppressed a smile, maintaining the perfect balance of humility and pride they'd practiced for this moment. We still don't fully understand those phenomena ourselves. Our instruments are limited. Back on Earth, in the Himalayan facility, Lynn watched her mother's presentation alongside Jack Torres and Emma Liu, who had been recalled from Centauri Station for this crucial phase of humanity's plan. "Look at their expressions," Lynn whispered. "They're so certain they know more than us." Jack nodded. "Best way to learn their secrets is to let them think they're teaching us something new." On the Council Station, Sarah was navigating through her carefully prepared demonstration of Earth's current technology level. She showcased their spacecraft designs, making sure to include just enough flaws to seem believable, while hidden quantum sensors recorded every detail of the Council's technical systems. "Your propulsion systems are remarkably efficient for their development stage," the Regelian science minister observed, "though your approach to gravity compensation is unusual." "Necessity breeds innovation," Sarah replied. "Earth's gravity forced us to find creative solutions." The council members discussed among themselves in their native languages, unaware that Sarah's translator was far more sophisticated than they believed. She caught fragments of their private conversations, debates about humanity's potential, discussions of their rapid progress, and most importantly, their growing interest in Earth's unique approach to physics. "We propose a knowledge exchange program," the Arcturian delegate announced. "Your species will receive access to our basic scientific database, and in return, we request the opportunity to study your adaptation to high-gravity environments." Sarah bowed slightly. Earth would be honored. Hours later, in a private chamber aboard the Council Station, Sarah connected to the Himalayan facility through a quantum-encrypted channel that appeared to be a simple video call. "They gave us exactly what we needed," she reported. "Access to their database, plus permission to establish a trading outpost in the Arcturus system." Lynn's face lit up on the screen. "Did you see their gravity compensation algorithms? They're so complex." "That's their weakness," Emma chimed in. "They've built their technology on purely theoretical foundations. They never had to solve practical problems like we did." Sarah watched a council ship glide past her window, its drive systems humming with what they considered advanced technology. Earth's hidden quantum labs had already developed more efficient versions of most of their systems. "Phase 3 is complete," she told her team. "Now we begin the real work. The council thinks they're mentoring a promising young species, but they're about to learn that teaching goes both ways." Jack's voice carried a note of concern. "The Star Wanderers are still out there. What if they realize what we did at Centauri Station wasn't natural?" "That's why our trading outpost is so important," Sarah explained. "We'll be able to monitor shipping lanes, establish diplomatic connections, and most importantly, learn who else might have seen through our deception." The quantum sensors in Sarah's translator picked up a conversation from the corridor outside her chamber. Council scientists were excitedly discussing Earth's potential, planning all the wonderful technologies they would introduce to humanity. "Mom," Lynn's voice drew her attention back to the screen. "When will we tell them the truth?" Sarah watched another council ship pass by. "When they're ready to understand that progress doesn't always follow the path you expect. Sometimes the best teachers are the ones who appear to be students." The Arcturus trading outpost gleamed against the backdrop of swirling purple nebula clouds. 6 months after its establishment, the station had become a hub of unexpected innovation, though not in the way the council had intended. Marcus Young, the station's operations director, stood in the main observation deck, watching a council engineering team examine the outpost's simple waste recycling system. Their instruments scanned the machinery with increasing puzzlement. "Fascinating design," the lead engineer muttered. "So primitive, yet the efficiency ratings are nearly equal to our advanced systems." Marcus kept his expression neutral. "We find that simple solutions often work best. Less to go wrong." The truth was far more interesting. The recycling system incorporated quantum principles that the Council hadn't yet discovered, disguised as basic mechanical processes. Every piece of human technology on the station followed the same principle: advanced science hidden behind seemingly simple designs. A commotion at the docking bay interrupted their inspection. Marcus's tablet lit up with urgent notifications. A cargo ship was coming in hot, its systems failing after a close encounter with a solar flare. Pilot Amanda Chen requesting emergency landing clearance. The voice crackled through the speakers. Primary systems compromised. Running on backup power. Marcus recognized the name. Dr. Chen's niece, recently assigned to the outpost's supply runs. The council engineers rushed to the observation window as Amanda's ship approached at a speed that should have been impossible to control. "She'll never make that landing," one of them declared. "The gravitational forces alone would incapacitate most species." But Amanda had grown up on Earth, her body conditioned to forces that would crush most council races. Her ship executed a series of precise maneuvers that looked desperate and uncontrolled to untrained eyes, but were actually carefully calculated to bleed off speed while maintaining structural integrity. The landing was perfect. When emergency teams reached the ship, they found Amanda calmly running diagnostics on her systems. The council engineers stared in disbelief. "How did you maintain consciousness during those maneuvers?" they asked. Amanda shrugged. "Earth gravity training. We're used to high-pressure situations." Later that evening, Marcus received an encrypted message from Dr. Chen. "The Council's scientific division is buzzing about Amanda's landing. They're starting to realize that Earth's gravity might give us more advantages than they initially thought." He looked out at the busy trading floor below. Council merchants haggled with human traders, exchanging goods and, more importantly, ideas. Every transaction, every conversation, every shared solution slowly reshaped how the galaxy's oldest civilizations thought about technology and innovation. Director Zhang, his assistant, called. "The Regelian delegation would like to discuss adapting our recycling system design for their colony worlds." Marcus smiled. The council races were beginning to prefer Earth's primitive but reliable technology over their own more advanced systems. They didn't realize that by studying human solutions, they were actually learning principles that went far beyond their current understanding. "Tell me," a council scientist asked during the meeting, "how did your species develop such efficient designs without quantum technology?" "We had to solve problems with what we had," Marcus explained. "Sometimes limitations breed innovation." The scientist nodded thoughtfully, making notes about the recycling system's simple mechanical principles. Behind them, Amanda's ship was being repaired using methods that looked basic but incorporated physics the Council wouldn't discover for centuries if they followed their current path of development. That evening, Marcus sent his daily report to Earth. "The innovation wave is working. They're not just using our technology, they're beginning to think like us. Phase 5 is proceeding exactly as planned." The response from Dr. Chen was brief. "Perfect. Soon they'll be ready for the next step." After all, the best way to lead is to make others think they're following their own path. Marcus watched the station's quantum core pulsing behind its disguise of conventional power systems. The Council thought they were helping a young species reach for the stars. In reality, humanity was teaching them to see the universe in an entirely new way. The Geneva Galactic University campus sparkled in the morning sun, its architecture blending Earth design with subtle elements from various Council worlds. Dr. Lin Chin, now 25, stood before the inaugural class of 500 students from across the galaxy. "Welcome to Earth's first interstellar educational institution," she began, her mother's words from years ago echoing in her mind. "Here we believe that understanding comes from doing, not just knowing." The lecture hall contained beings from 20 different species, each adapted to their own worlds and gravity conditions. Special environment suits allowed them to function comfortably in Earth's gravity, though Lin noticed many of the younger aliens had opted for minimal assistance, eager to build their physical tolerance. "Today, we start with a practical challenge," Lin announced, bringing up a holographic display. "This is a standard Council power distribution node. Your task is to improve its efficiency using only materials available to pre-space travel civilizations." A Regelian student raised her hand, crystalline features catching the light. Professor Chen, that's impossible. The node requires quantum-aligned materials to function. Lin smiled. Does it? Or is that just the solution we're most familiar with? The class broke into mixed species teams, each approaching the problem from their unique perspectives. Lin watched as they began to shed their preconceptions, asking questions that would never occur to council engineers. In her office later that day, Lin reviewed the students' initial designs with her mother via quantum link. Dr. Sarah Chen's hair had grayed, but her eyes still sparkled with the same intelligence that had helped craft Earth's grand strategy. "They're learning faster than we expected," Lin said, displaying a particularly innovative solution that combined Rigelian crystal technology with Earth-inspired mechanical principles, especially when we don't tell them what's impossible. Sarah nodded. That was always humanity's advantage. We never accepted the limits others took for granted. A notification popped up on Lin's screen. A message from Marcus Zhang at the Arcturus trading outpost. More council worlds were requesting Earth's basic but effective technology designs. The innovation wave was becoming a tsunami. Professor Chen, a young Arcturian student, hovered at her office door. Our team made a discovery while working on the power node problem. We think we found a way to bypass quantum alignment completely. Lin reviewed their work, carefully hiding her excitement. The students had unknowingly recreated a principle that Earth had discovered decades ago, but they'd approached it from an entirely new angle. "Excellent work," she said. "Why don't we develop this idea further?" That evening, after the students had left, Lin walked through the quiet campus. In different labs, she saw teams of aliens and humans working late, their enthusiasm for discovery transcending species boundaries. A Centaurian crystal specialist was debating energy flow patterns with a human physicist. A Rigelian engineering student was learning Earth martial arts, fascinated by how physical movement principles could apply to mechanical design. "Mom," Lin said during their evening briefing, "I think it's time for Phase 6B. Sarah raised an eyebrow. "The advanced physics curriculum. Are you sure they're ready?" Lin displayed the day's breakthrough designs. "They're not just copying our methods anymore. They're creating new ones. The Rigelian Earth hybrid drive concept their team developed today could revolutionize space travel. And they still don't suspect that Earth has had these technologies for decades. No, they're too excited about discovering things for themselves." Lin smiled. "Just as you always said, the best way to teach is to let others believe they're discovering the answers on their own." As night fell over the campus, Lin watched a group of students stargazing on the lawn, their environmental suits glinting in the starlight. They were discussing ways to improve interstellar navigation using principles from Earth's ancient maritime traditions. "The galaxy is changing," she messaged her mother. "Not through conquest or competition, but through shared discovery. And humanity is leading the way, one student at a time." The Grand Galactic Library on Arcturus Prime had changed dramatically since its founding 10,000 years ago. Where once stood solemn halls filled with digital archives, now thrived a living space of collaboration and discovery. At its heart, Amanda Chen, now the library's Director of Innovation, led a most unusual gathering. "Today we're trying something different," Amanda announced to the assembled group of council archivists. "Instead of simply recording knowledge, we're going to create it together." The archivists, representing civilizations far older than humanity's entire history, exchanged uncertain glances. A young Rigelian named Zura raised her hand, her crystalline features bright with curiosity. "Director Chen, I've been studying Earth's historical archives. Your species seems to value something called brainstorming. Is that what we're doing?" Amanda smiled. "Exactly. Every perspective adds something unique to the solution." The main hall's holographic displays came to life, showing a persistent problem in deep space navigation. Traditional council methods had mapped safe routes between systems, but ships still occasionally disappeared in unexplained anomalies. "My grandfather was a sailor on Earth's oceans," Amanda said, pulling up images of ancient maritime charts. He taught me that the most dangerous waters often held the most valuable discoveries. The archivists leaned forward, intrigued. The concept of water-based navigation was foreign to many council species, whose homeworlds were largely land or gas-based environments. Yet, as Amanda explained how Earth's mariners had learned to read waves, winds, and stars, understanding dawned in their eyes. "The anomalies," Zara exclaimed. "We've been trying to avoid them. But what if we could learn to read them instead?" The discussion exploded with ideas. A Centaurian archivist combined ancient Earth navigation principles with his species' natural ability to sense energy fields. Another participant suggested adapting the dead reckoning techniques of Earth sailors to map quantum fluctuations. In her private office later that day, Amanda connected with her cousin Lynn at the Geneva Galactic University. The quantum communication display showed Lynn surrounded by student projects. "The library transformation is working better than we hoped," Amanda reported. "They're not just accepting new ideas, they're actively seeking them out." Lynn nodded. "Same here. Our latest graduating class has already started implementing hybrid technologies on their homeworlds. The Council can't quite explain why combining primitive Earth methods with their advanced systems yields better results." A notification flashed on Amanda's screen. Another Council world was requesting access to Earth's historical archives. Not for the advanced technology they still didn't know humanity possessed, but for their problem-solving methodologies and cultural perspectives. "Have you seen the latest trends in Council space?" Lynn asked, amusement in her voice. "They're adapting Earth music, art, even sports. A group of Arcturian youth started a soccer league, environmental suits and all." Amanda laughed. "Mom would love that. Remember how she always said culture was the most powerful force for change?" The library's main hall had grown louder, filled with the sound of different species debating, sharing ideas, and building on each other's insights. Amanda watched as a group of junior archivists experimented with a new search algorithm, inspired by how Earth libraries had organized physical books. "We're not just changing their technology," Amanda observed. "We're changing how they think about knowledge itself." Lynn's expression grew thoughtful. "Did you ever imagine, when we were kids watching Mom plan all this, that it would work so well?" "Better than working," Amanda replied. "They're taking what we've shared and creating things we never imagined." That group today combined Earth navigation principles with 3 different alien technologies to create a completely new way of mapping space. Through the office window, Amanda could see more council ships arriving at the library's docking ports. Each carried beings eager to learn not just what humanity knew, but how they thought. "Phase 7 is complete," she messaged to Earth. "The galaxy isn't just accepting our influence, they're embracing it. And the best part, they think it was their idea all along." 50 years after first contact, the Interstellar Innovation Institute opened its doors on a terraformed Mars. Dr. Sarah Chen, now in her 80s, stood at the podium before representatives from every council race and dozens of independent worlds. Behind her, the massive complex stretched across the Martian landscape, its architecture a perfect blend of all known civilization styles. "Today," Sarah began, her voice strong despite her years, "we celebrate not just the opening of an institute, but the dawn of a new era in galactic cooperation." In the front row, Lynn and Amanda sat with their own children, the 3rd generation of the family that had helped reshape the galaxy. Beside them, Zara, now the head of the Council's science division, watched with crystalline eyes that had seen countless discoveries unfold. "Humanity's journey among the stars taught us something precious," Sarah continued. "True progress comes not from advancing alone, but from growing together." The holographic displays activated, showing the Institute's first project, a revolutionary propulsion system that combined Earth's quantum innovations with technologies from 20 different species. It was the first time humanity had publicly displayed their full technological capabilities. A murmur ran through the audience as they realized the implications. The quantum mechanics were centuries ahead of what Earth should have possessed. The gravity manipulation technologies were beyond even the Council's understanding. Sarah smiled. Yes, Earth has had these capabilities for some time. But we learned early on that the greatest discoveries come not from having advanced technology, but from understanding how to use it wisely. She gestured to the gathered representatives. Each of your civilizations has contributed something unique to galactic progress. The Rigelians' crystal computing, the Arcturian energy matrices, the Centaurian space-time theories, all vital pieces of a greater whole. Humanity's gift wasn't superior technology, but a different way of seeing how these pieces could fit together. Zara stood, her crystalline form catching the Martian sunlight. You knew all along. The quantum sensors, the advanced physics, Earth had mastered them before we even made contact. We did, Sarah acknowledged. But if we had revealed everything then, would you have learned to think differently? Would we have learned from your wisdom? Would this institute exist as a true collaboration of all our peoples? The audience absorbed this revelation. 50 years of carefully planned steps, the seemingly primitive technology that worked in surprising ways, the educational exchanges that sparked new ideas, the cultural cross-pollination that opened minds to different possibilities. The greatest measure of knowledge, Sarah said, isn't how much you possess, but how well you share it. Earth didn't take over the galaxy. We helped the galaxy discover its own potential. The assembly erupted in applause. Council members mingled with human scientists, comparing notes on technologies they had developed together, each bringing their unique perspective to shared challenges. In the reception afterward, Lynn found her mother sitting quietly, watching the diverse crowd of species interacting like old friends. Was it worth the wait? Lynn asked. All those years of hiding our true capabilities. Sarah watched as her grandchildren played with young aliens from across the galaxy, their environmental suits forgotten as they shared stories and dreams. Look at them. They don't see different species or civilizations. They just see fellow explorers. Amanda joined them, holding a data tablet showing the latest innovations from the Geneva Galactic University. The new generation is already taking things further than we imagined. They're combining human creativity with council wisdom in ways we never considered. Sarah nodded contentedly. That's how it should be. We didn't really take over the galaxy. We helped it evolve. And now, together, we're reaching for something even greater. As the Martian sunset painted the sky in brilliant hues, the gathered species of the galaxy looked up at the stars not as separate civilizations, but as one united community. Humanity hadn't conquered the galaxy through force or deception, but had instead shown it a new way forward, one where every voice added to the harmony of progress.